Good day everyone. Welcome again to another episode of tax training. And today I will discuss to you yung new procedure po natin in the availment of treaty benefits, no? Bago siyang procedure. Pero para sa akin hindi nga siya bago kasi parang binalik lang yung dati, no? Parang in-enhance lang, may mga nadagdag lang na mga documents, pero yung dati pa na mga requirements nung mga previous na regulations parang binalik lang, no, na meron na siyang application ng form, no. So this Revenue Memorandum Order number 14-2021 dated March 31, 2021, ito po yung streamlining the procedure and documents for the availment of treaty benefits, no. So ano po yung dahilan bakit po na in-streamline ito? Ang rationale po nila or yung pinaka reason kung bakit ito yung sa OECD Model Tax Convention natin, which automatically limit the tax na i-levy po nung isang tax authority, no, and verification of treaty entitlement, no. So ang main issue po in this case relates to the implementation of Revenue Memorandum Order RMO number 1-2000, which requires that availment of the tax treaty relief must be preceded by an application. So, kailangan may application, no? At saan po siya pinafile sa International Tax Affairs Division po, at least 15 days before the transaction. So, yan po in-reiterate dito sa RMO na to, no? Dated March 31, 2021, and then the RMO is 14-2021, no? Okay, so anong sabi sa case ng Deutsche Bank AG Manila Branch versus Commissioner of Internal Revenue, no? Ang sabi po niya, ang outright denial of a tax treaty relief for failure to strictly comply with the prescribed period is not in harmony with the objective of the contracting state to ensure the benefits granted under tax treaties. Yan po yung palaging nirereklamo ng mga ibang bansa because bakit daw yung tax treaties ay na hindi nabigyan ng effectivity dahil lang sa procedural requirement, no? So ano po yung sabi dito? While the court did not rule on the propriety of filing tax treaty relief application for the purposes of availing treaty benefits, it however held that at most, TTRA, tax treaty relief application, should merely operate to confirm the entitlement of the taxpayer to the relief. Kasi yung mga ibang mag-apply, sino magde-determine kung qualified ba sila o hindi, no? So there should be a tax treaty relief application to determine the entitlement, no? So in other words, the Bureau may still require the filing of the TRAs to confirm entitlement thereto, but in a manner that would not unduly divest the taxpayers from availing the intended treaty benefits, no? Kaya nagkaroon ng issuance to update administrative guidelines for the processing of the tax treaty application. And also, in accordance with the Republic Act number 11032 of the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Governing Service Delivery Act of 2018, no? Yun yung Ease of Doing Business Act. Okay. So, ano po yung objective nitong 14-2021? Ito yung bagong procedural and documentary requirements for the availment of tax treaty relief, no? Number 1, to update the guidelines and procedures in availing tax treaty relief. Number 2, to streamline the processing of TTRAs, no? Number 3, to reformat the manner of confirming entitlement to treaty benefits. Number 4, to address pending TTRAs for income earned in prior years and before the effectivity of this order. Kasi may mga application na doon na pending, no? Na doon sa International Tax Affairs Division ng BAR. Number 5, to define the respective function of the concerned offices of the Bureau in regard to the assessment and collection of the withholding tax due on the income payments to non-resident taxpayers, as well as refund of withholding taxes paid in excess of the treaty rates. Kasi ang mga mag-a-avail po ng tax treaty relief, required sila na may withholding. Kung sino man yung magbayad sa kanila ng income dito sa Pilipinas, may withholding tax na po. No? So to prescribe the penalties for the late filing of request for confirmation and the TDRAs, bakit ano po yung number of days required before, ito sinasabi dito 15 days before na mag-a-avail. Ito, tingnan, basahin ko sa inyo. At least 15 days before the transaction, no? So yun po yung sinasabi dito sa 14-2021. So 15 days before the transaction dapat nag-file na po ng application sa BIR for the entitlement of tax treaty relief, no? So guidelines and procedure, withholding agent or income payer. Sino yung income payer or withholding agent? Ito yung katransaction, ito yung magbabayad dun sa foreign resident, maybe individual or corporation, nung kanilang income, no? The withholding agent or income payer may rely on the submitted BIR form number 0901. Ito yung 0901, maraming klase ito, no? May interest, dividends, services, so iba-iba po. This form 0901 is the application form for treaty purposes and tax residency certificate, no, duly issued by the foreign tax authority and the relevant provision of the applicable tax treaty on whether to apply a reduced rate of or exemption from withholding tax at source on the income derived by non-resident taxpayer from all sources within the Philippines, no? So it is imperative for the non-resident taxpayers intending to avail treaty benefits to always submit said documents to its withholding agent or income payer prior to the payment of income for the first time, no? So failure to provide the said documents when requested may lead to withholding using the regular rates prescribed under the tax code as amended for non-resident foreign corporations or non-resident aliens not engaged in trade or business as the case may be, and not the treaty rate. Kasi kung wala kang documents to support, then ang default niya doon ka sa walang treaty benefits. So doon ka sa regular rate, which is higher, no? So when the treaty rates have been applied by the withholding agent on the income earned by the non-resident, the former shall file with ITAD a request for confirmation on the propriety of withholding tax rates applied on that item of income, no? So on the other hand, if the regular rates have been imposed on the said income, the non-resident shall file a TTRA with ITAD. No? So in either case, its request for confirmation and TTRA shall be supported by the documentary requirements set out hereunder. The request for confirmation shall be filed by the withholding agent at any time after the payment of withholding tax, but shall in no case be later than the last day of the fourth month following the close of its taxable year. The filing of TTRA largely depends upon the non-resident who must invoke and prove his or her its entitlement to treaty benefits. The non-resident may at any time after the receipt of income file a TTRA to prove its entitlement to treaty benefits. Failure to prove the same may result in the confirmation of the tax rate previously applied on the income and in the eventual denial of the TTRA. Yan napaka liwanag na yan, no? If the BIR determines that the withholding tax rate applied is lower than the rate that should have been applied on an item of income pursuant to the treaty, or that the non-resident taxpayer is not entitled to treaty benefits, it will issue a BIR ruling denying the request for confirmation or TTRA. Consequently, the withholding agent shall pay the deficiency tax plus penalties, no? Siyempre, pagka late na, it includes penalties na. So on the contrary, if the withholding tax rate applied is proper or higher than the rate that should have been applied, the BIR will issue a certificate confirming the non-resident income recipient's entitlement to treaty benefits. Also, in the latter case, the taxpayer may apply for a refund of excess withholding tax. So generally, one TTRA request for confirmation shall be filed for its transaction, no? Bawat transaction, except for long-term contracts, no? Kung may mga long-term contracts, for services or loan agreements, licenses agreements, those which are effective for more than 1 year, where an annual updating shall be made until the termination of the contract, no? To ensure that the proper rate is applied until the end of the contract, the non-resident taxpayer shall file an updated application form, a new TRC, if the validity period of the previously submitted TRC has already lapsed, and other relevant documents not later than the last day of the 4th month following the close of its taxable year. Thus, for instance, if a contract for consultancy services has a term of 5 years, starting from January 1, 2020 until December 31, 2024, 5 TTRAs shall be filed on or before April 30 of the following year to determine at the earliest possible time whether or not resident taxpayer already has permanent establishment in the Philippines. Kasi pagka may permanent establishment na po in the Philippines, considered as branch yan, they will be taxed now the regular rate, no? So new TTRA shall be processed within 4 months from the submission of complete documents, no? Tagal. Or as soon as practicable, provided that the ITAD has addressed all its backlogs, no? So yun. Section 5, documentary requirements. The original or certified true copy of the following document shall be submitted to ITAD when claiming relief from double taxation. No? So ito po yung general requirements. General, bakit? Mayroon pa mga specific requirements per kind of tax treaty application. So Section 5, documentary requirements. The original or certified copy of the following document shall be submitted to ITAD when claiming relief from double taxation. Kasi ano po ba yung purpose? Bakit nagkiklaim po ng treaty benefits? To avail of the lower tax rates. At saka parang hindi na siya matax ulit or double taxation pagdating po sa sarili niyang bansa. No? Bakit? Because pagka may tax treaty po tayo, whatever taxes na babayaran dito ng foreign corporations or individual, pagdating po sa bansa nila, pwede po nila i-claim as tax credit. No? Ganon din tayo sa kanila. Yung ibabayad sa ibang bansa, sa kanilang bansa, ng mga resident natin, pwede rin gamitin na tax credit pagdating po dito sa atin. No? So, general requirements, the letter request. No? You have to request for a ruling, no? For the availment of tax treaty benefits through the tax treaty application. Application form duly signed by the non-resident income recipient or its or his or her authorized representative. And then the tax residency certificate for the relevant period duly issued by the tax authority of the foreign country in which the income recipient is a resident. No? And then we have the bank documents or certificate of deposit, telegraphic transfer, money transfer, evidencing the payment remittance of income. Yun na. So, may mga bank documents tayo na bayad talaga yung income. Withholding tax return with alpha list of payees, no? Na nandyan siya. Proof of payment of withholding tax. Notarized special power of attorney issued by the non-resident taxpayer to his or her authorized representative, which shall expressly state the authority to sign the application form as well as to file the TTRA or request for confirmation. And then we have additional general requirements. Ito na, no? May additional pa na requirements for legal persons and arrangements and individuals. Oh. So, authenticated copy of the non-resident legal person or arrangements, articles, memorandum of incorporation, association, trust, agreement, or equivalent document confirming its establishment or incorporation with an English translation thereof if in foreign language. Kasi hindi natin maintindihan. Sometimes, yung mga articles of incorporation, Spanish, French, no? O kaya yung mga iba't iba pang European language. So, hindi natin maintindihan. That's why may English translation, no? Original copy of the certificate of non-registration of company or certified true copy of license to do business in the Philippines, duly issued by the Securities and Exchange Commission for legal person and arrangements, or original copy of the Certificate of Business Registration, presents duly issued by the Department of Trade and Industry for individuals. Okay, so yun yung general requirements at saka additional na general requirements. And then we have the general requirements for fiscally transparent entities, no? So it must be emphasized that the recipient of income payments made to a foreign fiscally transparent entity are the owners of or beneficiaries thereof. So therefore, the provision of the tax treaty is applicable only to the portion that is treated as income of members who are residents of other contracting state where the fiscally transparent entity is a resident. A member who is a resident of a third state may be given treaty benefits pursuant to the treaty between the Philippines and that third state. So for this purpose, the foreign company should attach the following to the application form. Number 1, a copy of the law of the foreign country showing that the tax is imposed on the owners or beneficiaries of the foreign fiscally transparent entity. And then next is the list of owners, beneficiaries of the foreign entity, proof of ownership of the foreign entity, and number 4, TRC, no, duly issued by the concerned foreign tax authority to the owners or beneficiaries of the fiscally transparent entity. For the specific requirements, depende na po kung anong klaseng income, no? Kaya may specific requirements pa, meron tayong general na requirements, no? And then general na other requirements. Ito naman specific requirements, no? So halimbawa, type of income mo is business profit of foreign enterprises, no? Ano yung requirement at ano yung prescribed na application form. So the application form is BIR form number 0901P, no? Kasi ang ibig sabihin niyan, profits, no? So business profits of foreign enterprises. Ano yung kailangan? Number 1, contract duly executed by the parties or their authorized representatives. And number 2, special power of attorney authorizing the signatory or signatories to the contract to sign on behalf of the principal or principals. Number 3, sworn certification stating the following: services provided by the foreign enterprise, place of performance of such services. Number 3, individuals who render the services on behalf of the foreign enterprise, their positions, designations, and professional background. Duration of stay in the Philippines of said individuals, no? Kung gaano sila katagal dito sa Pilipinas. And then number 4, certificate duly issued by the Bureau of Immigration, which shall state the date of arrival in and departure from the Philippines of the individuals mentioned in 3 or passport booklets of the concerned individuals. Under number 5, we have certificate of completion of the project duly signed by the income recipient and duly accepted by the domestic income payer. Number 6, invoices duly issued by the income recipient in accordance with the invoicing requirements of the country of residence. So yun lang po yung requirements sa business profits of foreign enterprise. The next is the profits from the operation of shift or aircraft in international traffic. The BIR form number 0901-T, yan po yung gagamitin natin, no? So number 1, proof of registry of the international carrier. Number 2, authority to operate, certificate of accreditation issued by the concerned Philippine government agency in favor of the international carrier, no? And then we have number 3, license to transact business in the Philippines duly issued by the SEC. If tax exemption is invoked on the basis of reciprocity, letter request which shall contain a brief overview of the operations and shall state the legal basis of such exemptions. So competent proof of reciprocity duly issued by the foreign tax authority. And then we have dividend. No? So, Board of Directors resolution approving the issuance of dividends, which shall include the amount of dividends and date of declaration, record, and payment, among others. No? So, anong form ang gagamitin? BIR form number 0901D. No? Number 2, Certification under oath by the corporate secretary, custodian, bank, depository account holders, broker dealers, stating in detail the legal and beneficial owners of all issued and outstanding shares of record, date, their corresponding subscriptions, no? Date of acquisition, percentage of ownership, and the allocation of dividends. And then we have certified true copy of audited financial statements as of last fiscal year, stamp received by the BIR and the SEC. And then number 4, we have general information sheet for the year immediately preceding the date of declaration. Number 5, proof that the shareholding in respect of which the dividends are paid is not effectively connected with the permanent establishment of the foreign enterprise in the Philippines. So that is for dividend. Branch profit remittance, no? So ano to mga branch profit remittance? Under BIR form number 0901-PR, no? Profit remittance. Number 1, sworn certification executed by the manager or other authorized representative of the branch office stating the amount earmarked for remittance and the date of remittance. Next is audited financial statements of the branch office for the taxable year immediately preceding the year of remittance. And then for interest, duly executed contract, bank documents, certificate of deposits, telegraphic, transfer, telex money transfer. No? So evidencing the remittance of the loan by the non-resident creditor. So anong gagamitin mo? BIR form number 0901-1. No? So yun yung gagamitin mo na form for interest. DAS-I pala yun, DAS-I kasi interest. Proof of the debt claim in respect of which the interest is paid is not effectively connected with the permanent establishment of the foreign enterprise in the Philippines. Number 4, proof that the interest rate is arm's length if the debtor and creditor are related parties. No? So, pag related parties, dapat sabihin mo na arm's length. Royalties. License agreement duly executed by the parties. Proof of ownership or interest over the licensed product. Patent, copyright, trademark, trade name, and others. Proof that the right or property in respect of which the royalties are paid or is not effectively connected with the permanent establishment of the foreign enterprise in the Philippines. And then we have the capital gains. So the BIR form number 0901C. No? Okay, so number 1, ano yung mga requirements? Contractually executed by the parties. Number 2, special power of attorney authorizing the signatory or signatories to the contract to sign on behalf of the principal. And number 3, we have notarized corporate secretary certificate stating the non-resident taxpayers' percentage of shareholding prior to the transfer or alienation of shares, date, and mode of acquisition, original subscription, subsequent transfer by way of stock or property dividend, or any equivalent documents executed by the authorized representative of a partnership trust stating the interest to be alienated. Stock certificates. Deed of trust, nominee agreement executed between the nominee shareholder and the beneficial owner of shares. And then we have general information sheet of the issuing corporation for the year immediately preceding the date of transaction. Number 7, audited financial statements of the issuing corporation, partnership, or trust for the taxable year immediately preceding the year of transfer, stamp received by the BIR and the SEC. So, interim AFS as of the date of transfer, BIR form number 1707, or the capital gains tax return for onerous transfer of shares of stocks not traded through the local stock exchange, and proof of payment if applicable. Number 10, BIA form number 2000 OT or itong one-time transactions lang for dog stamps. No? And also that declaration return or for one-time transactions and proof of payment. BIA form number 0605, payment form and proof of payment of the processing and certification fee of 5,000. Okay. Additional requirements. Sa capital gains po ito ha. Capital gains yan. In case of redemption of preferred shares, notarized board of directors resolution authorizing the redemption of or buyback of shares, articles of incorporation and bylaws of the issuing corporation. In case of exchange, AFS of the transfer as of the end of the immediately preceding year and as of that date of exchange, AFS of the transfers as of the end of the immediately preceding year and as of the date of exchange. No? In case of merger or other types of business restructuring, sa restructuring naman tayo, restructuring documents, for instance, approved plan and or articles of merger, consolidation, corporate reorganization duly executed by the parties. And we have certificate or any document duly issued by the company register or any relevant government agency approving or consenting to the corporate restructuring. No? So in case of dissolution and liquidation, notarized board of directors resolution authorizing the dissolution and liquidation of the company and the certificate of dissolution duly issued by the SEC in case of voluntary dissolution. Okay. So when shares are issued by the transferor as property dividend, board of directors resolution approving the issuance of property dividends, authenticated copy of transferors AFS as of the end of the immediately preceding year and as of the date of transfer. No? Authenticated copy of the transfer is AFS as of or other of or after the date of transfer. No? So yun yung when shares are issued by the transferor as property dividend. Next is the remuneration derived from the provision of professional services or other activities of an independent character. No? So, we have number 1, contract duly executed by the parties or their authorized representative. No? And anong gagamitin na form? BIR form number 0901 SI. No? Ano yung SI? Services or other activities of an independent character. Okay. So ano po yung mga documentary requirements? Contract duly executed by the parties or their authorized representative. Certification duly issued by the Bureau of Immigration which shall state the dates of arrival in and departure from the Philippines of professional or independent. Or independent contractor or his or her passport booklet. Okay, so number 3, certificate of completion of the project duly signed by the professional or independent contractor and duly accepted by the domestic income payer. Number 4, invoices duly issued by the income recipient in accordance with the invoicing requirements of the country of residence. No? So, yun po yung required. And then, the remuneration derived from the provision of dependent personal services. No? So, you use BIR form number 0901 S2 or Series 2. No? Documentary requirements, employment contract duly executed by the foreign employer and the foreign employee. We have contract between the foreign employer and the domestic taxpayer allowing the temporary assignment of the foreign employee in the Philippines. No? Secondment agreement duly executed by the due by the foreign employer and the foreign employee secondly. Next is certificate duly issued by the Bureau of Immigration, which shall state the dates of arrival in and departure from the Philippines of the foreign employee or his or her passport booklet. No? Okay. So remuneration, grants, allowances received by professor or teacher, student, business apprentice, or trainee. No? So employment contract between the professor, teacher, researcher, and the domestic income payer. No? So ano yung form na gagamitin? BIR form number 0901-3. No? Okay. So ano mga kailangan na documentation? Dalawa lang, no? Income earned by entertainers, artists, sports person, or other temporary visitors. No? So, anong form nagamit? BR form number 0901 S4. No? So, income earned by entertainers, artists, sports person, or other temporary visitors. No? So, documentary requirements, contract duly executed by the parties, permit or license issued by the concerned Philippine government agency if applicable, and then the proof of exemption from tax. Proof that the visit of the Philippines is wholly or substantially supported, sponsored, or officially recognized and endorsed by the country of residence, political subdivisions, local authority, or statutory body thereof. No? Other income not expressly mentioned, BIR for number 0901-0. So, contract duly executed by the parties, special powers of attorney authorizing the signatories to the contract to sign on behalf of the principal. Okay. Okay, so ano yung mga requirements authentication? Okay. Manner of granting and denying treaty benefits. Appeals, evaluation of pending TTRAs for income earned in prior years. Section 10, we have the filing a claim for refund. No? So actually, ang dami pong mga documentary requirements talaga. Responsibilities of the assessment arms of the Bureau. No? So, Section 12, other applicable taxes. Section 13, penalties for late filing of request for confirmation. Okay, so yun po yung mga requirements natin when we apply for the tax treaty benefits. With that, I would like to say thank you and have a good day po sa lahat nating mga viewers. Thank you very much.